All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 17, Maharaj Prithu becomes angry at the earth. Text number 22. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Pritur Uvacha Prasude Pam Vidishyami Mach Chasana Paran Mukim Bhagam Pahishi Ya Vrinkte Na Tanoti Cha No Vasu Pritur Uvacha Vasudhe Tvam Vadishyami Machasana Paranmukim Bhagam Barhisya Vrinkte Natanoti Cha No Vasu Riturvacha Vasudhe Tvam Vadishyami Machasana Paranmukim Bhagam Barhisya Vrinkte Natanoti Chano Vasu Riturvacha Vasudhe Tvam Vadishyami Machasana Paranmukim Bhagam Barhisya Vrinkte Natanoti Chano Vasu. Piturvacha Vasude Tvam Vadishyami Prithu Uvacha. King Prithu replied, Vasude, my dear earthly planet, Pam, you, Vidishyami, I shall kill Mat, my Shashana ruling, Parak, Parak Mukim, disobedient to, Bhagam, your share, Vihishi, in the Yagya, Ya, who, Vrinkte, accepts, Na, not, Tanoti, does deliver, Cha, and, Naha, to us, Basu, produce. Translation, King Prithu replied to the earthly planets, my dear earth, you have disobeyed my orders and ruling. In the form of a demigod, you accepted your share of the yajnas we performed, but in return, you have not produced sufficient food grains. For this reason, I must kill you. Translation, please repeat. King Prithu replied to the earthly planet, my dear earth, you have disobeyed my orders and ruling. In the form of a demigod, you accepted your share of the yajnas we performed, but in return, you have not produced sufficient food grain. For this reason, I must kill you. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The cow-shaped earth planet submitted that she was that she not only was a woman, but was innocent and sinless as well. Thus she argued that she should not be killed. Besides, she pointed out that being perfectly religious-minded, the king could not violate the religious principles that forbade killing a woman. In reply, Maharaj Prithu informed her that first of all, she had disobeyed his orders. This was her first sinful activity. Secondly, he accused her of taking her shares of yajnas, sacrifices, but not producing sufficient food grains in return. Riturvacha Vasudhi Tvam Badishyami Machasana Paranmukim Bhagam Barhishi Yavrinkte Natanoti Chano Vasu. King Prithu replied to the earthly planet, my dear earth, you have disobeyed my orders and rulings. In the form of a demigod, you accepted your share of the yajnas we performed, but in return, you have not produced sufficient food grains. For this reason, I must kill you. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam Tapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadam Diham Adadana Strinandan Dairidam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padambujo Dilisyam Janmani Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpatrubhyascha Kripasindhubhaya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. This is a very interesting chapter in the life of Maharaj Prithu. Because previously, Maharaj Vena was ruling. And he was a complete atheist and rascal. We'll see later in this chapter, this is Earth Point, that unless we perform proper yagyas, then the earth will not produce her bounty. Like now, people all over the world are crying that so many so-called shortages are there. But actually, it's not shortages. They're just using this excuse for their mismanagement. They have mismanaged everything. Therefore, so-called shortages are there. And we see all the weather is crazy. We're in the middle of a national emergency. And of course, by the time we came to, we saw the airport dry, but we saw pictures. The airport was flooded with water. We couldn't even imagine such a thing. And here and there's earthquakes going on, volcanoes erupting, so many crazy things going on. Huge, unprecedented snowstorms in America. Everywhere, everything is topsy-turvy because there's no yagas being performed. Actually, Prabhupada said the only reason there's any rain at all is because we are doing this Sankirtan Yaga. Because in this very terrible Kali Yuga, it's a very, very simple yagya we have to perform. Previously, they required so much ghee, and the king had to have so much wealth because he had to give dakshina to so many qualified Brahmins to do the yagya. He required so much cow ghee. Therefore, Bhagavatam says that in this age it's not possible to do these things. People are still trying to do yagyas, but practically we see we can't. What to speak of cow ghee? We can't even get pure ghee. When I first went to India, all the signs said Deshi ghee. Deshi means from that particular country, from India. It's Indian ghee. Where else is it going to come from? Deshi ghee. Then a little while later they added pure Deshi ghee. Then they added 100% pure Deshi ghee. And so many scandals were there. While I was living in India, so many scandals there. They found that people were cutting the ghee with beef tallow, so many horrible things. And plus it's all adulterated with this and that and so many things. So and most of the ghee is all from buffaloes. And just like at least in America, if you want to insult someone, you call him a buffalo brain. I don't know if you have the same saying, probably not, because America is also famous for buffaloes because the rascals killed them all. Just like they almost wiped out your kiwi birds. So we almost wiped out all the buffaloes in America. And even in India, if they want to insult someone, they ban skabuti. They also say buffalo brain. So this buffalo milk, very terrible thing. You see, they're called water buffaloes for a reason, because they require water to cool down. Because unlike most other animals, they don't have any sweat glands. So the sweat is what makes us cool off, because water comes on the body, hopefully a breeze blows and that evaporation. Evaporation always causes coolness. This is Krishna's way of cooling us down in the very hot weather. But these poor animals have no sweat glands. And also it's one of the ways the body gets rid of impurities. You always wonder why your sweat smells so bad, especially into the arms, because the body's getting rid of so many impurities. It's almost as good as urine, sweat. So these poor animals, they have no sweat glands. They can't cool off properly. And so they always see them sitting in the water. They must have some water. And so since they have no sweat glands, all those impurities go into the milk. You're drinking all these buffalo impurities in your milk and ghee, and it's very heavy. I remember the first Mayapur festival. Oh my God, we were so sick. 1974, they're cooking with this buffalo ghee, and our poor Western bodies weren't ready for it. Everybody was horribly sick. So it's very difficult to find cow ghee, and it's very difficult to find pure cow ghee. They're saying 100% pure Deshi ghee, but you know it's not. So very difficult to perform all these different types of yagyas properly. So practically the only yagya that's recommended in Kali Yuga is this Sankirtan yaga, chanting very loudly and very enthusiastically, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So because this chanting is going on all over the world, that's why there's still a little bit of things. But actually there's no question of shortage. It's like we're just in Fiji. So much land lying completely vacant. And this land is so fertile, if you spit out a watermelon seed, 2 days later you have a watermelon plant growing. So it's just their mismanagement of everything. So because King Deena was there, then the earth began to react. This is later she's going to beg in this chapter. But Prithu Maharaj, of course, he's performing all the yogis, everything. All the people have come to him. They're all skinny. They're dying of starvation. So he's threatening to kill her. Later we'll see he's even ready to chop up the earth and feed her to the citizens. This is the most amazing chapter. So unless we perform proper yagyas, then there will always be these so-called shortages. And so these are just myths. The King Prithu, he's become very angry with the earth. And even though to save herself, she's taken the form of a cow, he's still ready. That you disobeyed my orders. Here the word is shasana. Shasana means orders. Just like we know the word shastra. These are the orders which we have to follow for peaceful life. If it's called shastra, it comes after this word shasana, to rule. And we performing yogis and you're not giving anything in return. Maharaj Prithu, in this chapter, he's very angry. This is a very interesting chapter. We're going to see so many things that eventually, next chapter is called that he milks the earth. And everybody comes. Like he milks the earth for all the food grains, and the demigods work for something else I can't remember, and sages for Vedic knowledge. Everybody takes a benefit from the earth after Maharaj Prithu threatened her. So you should just take advantage of this nice Sankirtan movement is there, and we can do the simple yoga of chanting the holy name, and taking, just like last night, we were taking nice Krishna prasadam of Sri Gornitai. So I was thinking, yesterday was Lord Nityananda's appearance day, and he appeared in a place where the Ganga doesn't flow. So we always say Radha Desh, but it's not Radha. It's one of those weird letters in Sanskrit. It's very difficult. It's Rarda Desh. One of those words that even my dear friend Arjuna, he can't pronounce properly. But that's because Nityananda, he came, because where the Ganga flows, people are generally very pious. So because Lord Nityananda, he appeared to save the most fallen, he appeared where the Ganga doesn't flow. And he was born to Harai Pandit and Padmavati. And I was just reading the other day, there's a wonderful book that I edited by Ishwar Prabhu called Nityananda Charitamrita. Just like we have Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nityananda Charitamrita. So I helped him by editing it. So many wonderful pastimes are there. Just like we got a hint yesterday, Nitai, with all his friends, they would imitate the pastimes of Krishna and Ram and Braha, so many things. Every day they would do these wonderful pastimes. And everybody, they would just do these dramas, and everybody said, where did he learn all these things? And Nitai would just smile, these are all my pastimes, and just laugh. So one time, he had one boy take the form of a cow, the earth, in the form of a cow, and she approached some other boys who were playing in the parts of the demigods, and she began to lament. So then another boy took the part of Brahma. They went to Brahma. Brahma took them all to the side of the river. I forget which river flows there in Ekachakra. They went to the river, and some other boy was hidden, and a voice appeared, I shall come soon and relieve you of your all distress. Then they imitated the pastime of the wedding of Vasudeva and Devaki. Then they had some boy play the part of Kams, and he threw Vasudeva and Devaki in a jail. And then they had the pastime, they imitated the pastime of Krishna appearing in the jail cell. And one boy took another boy on his head and took him across the river to Gokul. So many wonderful pastimes. Everybody was simply amazed. How does he know all these things? I said, oh, these are just my pastimes. One time, he imitated the pastime of Lord Braha. So many things. One time they were doing Ram Lila. And he had some boys play the parts of monkeys, and they came to the edge of the river, and they threw leaves on the surface of the water, just like the monkeys were throwing rocks onto the water. Then they crossed over to Lanka. The one boy was playing Ravana, and so many wonderful pastimes. And finally, one day, they were playing the battle, big battle, and somehow Ravana hit, was it Ravana or maybe, I can't remember now. One of the enemies, they hit Lakshman with the Shakti Shila weapon, and Lakshman became unconscious. But Nitai, he was playing the part of Lakshman, because he's actually, Lakshman is none other than Balaram, and he's none other than Balaram. Brajendra Nanda Najay, Sati Sutta Hoilo Se, Balaram Hoilo Nitai. So suddenly, Nitai felt completely unconscious. And all the boys came around. They tried to revive him. They couldn't revive him. And they all began to cry. They were all crying and crying. So finally, somebody ran to tell Harai Pandit, this terrible thing has happened. Harai Pandit and Padmavati came there, and they saw Nitai is completely unconscious. They began to wail, and everyone was crying and crying. Then finally somebody said, I know why he is unconscious, because he told us before that he will fall unconscious. And that boy who's supposed to play the part of Hanuman, he's supposed to go get the Sanjeevani herb. That's why he's unconscious. Where's that boy who's playing Hanuman? So then they brought him out and he dried his tears. And then he said, I will go to the Gandharva hill and bring back the Sanjeevani herb. So he took off running. Then another boy came. And he said, my dear Hanuman, why are you running so fast? Just wait here for some time. I'll take some rest in my ashram, have some nice food. He said, no, you must have heard. Lakshman has been hit by the Shakti Shila weapon, and I have to go get the Sanjeevani herb. Anyway, at least you take your bath and have something to eat, and then you continue. So then he accepted the invitation, and he went to the river. Then a huge crocodile came out of the river. And tried to grab Nitai with his huge mouth, and Nitai just grabbed that crocodile and smashed him. And then that boy who was playing Hanuman, he ran off again. Another boy came, said, you got free from that crocodile, but how will you get free from me? I am the servant of Ravan. And the boy said, your Ravan is a dog. I don't care if you're Ravan. And just like that crocodile, I will finish you off. And there was a big battle and smashed uh, that poor boy lay on the ground dead. Then he continued on, and he's a monkey. Monkeys know how to fight. They know which berries to eat, which not to eat, which will make you sick. But medicine, how does he doesn't know anything about medicine? So he said, what to do? So he just lifted up the whole mountain. He just poor monkey. He doesn't know about medicine. He knows about food, So he lifted the whole mountain and flew back to Lanka. And then the other boy who was playing the Vaidya, he came, he put the Sanjeevani herb under Lakshman's nose, and then suddenly Nitai regained his consciousness, and everybody was happy. Hari, 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 Hari. Everybody was amazed. How do you know all these things, Nitai? These are all my pastimes. So he would play all these wonderful pastimes, and finally one boy was playing Ravana, and Ram shot him with his arrow, and he was finished. Like this, they performed every day all these wonderful pastimes, Krishna, Lord Ram, all these things. In this way, Nitai, he spent his childhood like this. Of course, then we know that one unknown Brahmin came and begged Harai Pandit for his son because he needed a servant to help him on his pilgrimage. And Harai Pandit was, because Nitai was his life. He couldn't live without Nitai. And he said, he went to his wife to chase Padmavati. He said, what to do? This has happened. I feel just like Dasarat. I don't know what to do. How can I refuse this sadhu? And Padmavati said, my dear husband, my dear Prabhu, whatever you want to do, you consider whatever is the most religious, and you do. Then with a heavy heart, he turned his child over to that sadhu. And Harai Pandit, the whole of Eka Chakra was just like a thunderbolt had killed them all. They were all stricken with sorrow. Nitai left. And just like in Balaram's pastimes, he went to all the places of pilgrimage, so they went all over the place. Finally, they came to Braj. Or actually, later, after he left that sadhu, and he went to wonder himself, and he came to Braj. And remembering his pastimes as Gopal, along with Krishna, they were both Gopals. He began to play with all the young boys, and he would always stay wherever there was goshalas, and always with the cows, and always with the cowherd boys, stealing butter and milk, and so many wonderful pastimes he did wandering around Braj. And there's a place in Vrindavan where Nitai stayed that is known as Sringarvat. Uh, Somehow I wanted to, because they always have very, very ecstatic Abhishek there. They have little tiny, little deity of Nitai is about this big. They put him in a great big upside down pot of some sort. It's just a little tiny deity, but they're trying to hold him and pouring all the milk and all the honey and everything. And everybody is, the altar is, you know, sort of high up. So everybody else is down in the courtyard chanting, Jai Nitai, Jai Nitai, Jai Nitai. And somehow I searched Facebook and YouTube. I couldn't find even one of the very dear friend of mine, one of the Goswamis. He's a young boy. Uh, 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 he just loves Prabhupada like anything. He's a young boy, but most of them, they're very, because they're caste Goswamis. They somewhat, and they can, and we know that Nityananda Vamsh, they all consider that they're the only ones who have the right to preach and this and that. But somehow he's totally amazed by Prabhupada. He was called me on Skype, not Skype, what do you call it? Messenger. And he was going on, I can't imagine what Prabhupada has done, how he's spread the message of Gaur Nitai all over the world. He was going on and on. So he sent me some links, but I guess they're all from his friends. And therefore, because I'm not friends with his friends, none of them would open all attachment unavailable. Anyway, we tried to see this beautiful Abhishek there in Sringarvat. Because you can go there and see their Abhishek and still get back in time to see our Abhishek in Vrindavan. Or maybe it's the other way, you see our Abhishek in I can't remember. Somehow I always manage to see both of them. This is the first time, and I can't even remember the last time I wasn't there for Nityananda's appearance day. And then he went to Radhakund. And there's a place in Radhakund, just at the end, when you're going all the way around, you come there's a Gopinath temple. And there's a sitting place of Nityananda Betak there. And it used to be just a little broken down place. Now somehow that old Pujari has died, and they've renovated the whole place very beautifully and made a beautiful Betak for Lord Nityananda. But he was sitting there and he was distressed because everywhere he went, he couldn't find his Kanaya. And it was there in Radhakund that someone told him the Kanaya is not in Vrindavan. Now he's in Navadvip. You have to go to Navadvip and find him. So from that place, Nityananda Betak in Radhakund, then he decided to go to Navadvip, to Mayapur. So then one night, Nimai, he told everyone, I had a dream last night. Some very strong personality, dressed in blue, and his body was white like milk, like the foam of milk. And he had a huge crown and so many beautiful golden ornaments. And he came in a huge chariot, and he came before my house, and he called out in a big voice, is this the house of Nimai Pandit? Is this the house of Nimai Pandit? And then my dream broke. So I can understand that a great personality has come to Navadvip. You all go and find him. So everybody went around all over Navadvip, all over Mayapur, nowhere they could find that any new person had come. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to show, just like we were talking, and Nitai, he's very, very confidential. That's like Maharaj was saying, like everybody, many people know Lord Chaitanya, but not many has heard about Nitai. He's very confidential. So he took all the devotees with him. And just after our temple, the next temple is Goswami Mat. That is also Nandanacharya's house. So Nimai took all the devotees along, and they came to Nandanacharya's house. And they were sitting on the veranda. They saw this wonderful personality, a very interesting personality. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had Srivas chant one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Barhapitam natavara vapukarniyo karnikayam. This is from Venu Geet. And as soon as those words of Srimad Bhagavatam entered the ear of Nitai, he got up, he began to jump and shout and roll on the ground. Everybody was astonished. And then Nitai looked and he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they're both stunned in ecstatic love. That chapter, I wish I brought it with me, because it's impossible to remember all the incredible details. They were just, for moments, they were just lost in ecstasy. Then they embraced each other, and it's almost as if they merged with each other's body, and they rolled on the ground, and everybody was so astonished. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced everyone to Nitai. Very chapter so ecstatic. There's so many wonderful pastimes of Lord Nityananda there. Of course, our favorite pastime, of course, is our Jagai Madai pastime. Because we were discussing last night that Lord Nityananda, he's come to save even those people that Lord Chaitanya can't deliver. Because we know Lord Chaitanya, but Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avatar, he's considered to save the most fallen. But anyway, there was two brothers, Jagai and Madai. The way to tell them apart is Madai, he got mad. And Jagai, he suddenly realized, wait a minute, what are you doing? As we'll see. So that's how you tell. Madai was the one who became angry, and Jagai was the one who said, what are you doing? What are you doing? And although they were born in a very aristocratic Brahmin family, somehow by the influence of Kali Yuga, this has become a detriment. Because as soon as one is wealthy, then he tends to forget about Krishna consciousness. He just wants to enjoy his senses like anything. And one is prestige, and he wants to take advantage of his prestige and exploit people. So they became worst of everything. Wine drinkers number one, drunkards number one, women hunters number one, everything number one you can imagine, except anything good. So we heard that nice verse, Suno Suno Nityananda Suno Haridas, Gari Gari Jabo Koro Ho Prakash. That Nityananda, because Mahaprabhu used to send the devotees preaching, but he'd always send them in pairs. So Nityananda and Haridas became pair. Because it's very difficult in this Kali Yuga. Very, so much, everywhere we go, just the vibration of sense gratification, everything is just meant to agitate the mind. And so we should, very difficult to go alone. So Mahaprabhu sent them in pairs. This is Sunu Sunu Haridas, Sunu Sunu Nityananda Sunu Haridas. You go and tell everyone to Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Siksha. So every day they would come back and they would tell Mahaprabhu the results of their preaching. Just like we saw Prabhupada, and he always used to love to hear the book distribution scores. We heard in Leela Mrita in his last days, he says, the only thing that's giving me solace is hearing these book distribution results. So exactly the same way, Mahaprabhu, he would want to hear the results. So one day, Nityananda and Haridas, they were going through the streets of Nadia, and they saw there was a big crowd. So So they went there to see what's going on. And these two brothers, although they were Brahmins, they were just rolling on the ground and uh, drinking and doing soma, carrying on, and everyone was, look at these two very high brothers, look what how degraded they are. They were all laughing. And Madai had the wine bottle. He said, hey, Jagai, only a little bit left. I'm going to finish it off. And no, let me have a last drop. No, it's mine. No, let me have the last drop. No, let me, I'm going to drink the last drop. And Nityananda stepped forward. He said, my dear brothers, you give up this sinful life and chant the holy name. And Madai became mad. These Hare Krishna Wallas have come to disturb us. And look, you, ain't gonna be no holy name come off of this mouth, huh? You get out of here. We have fun. You're disturbing us. And Nityananda said, come on, my dear brothers, you please give up this sinful life and chant the holy name. Huh? And they became angry. They began to chase after Nityananda and Haridas. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you, you know. Huh? It's like sometimes on Harinam, we've had to experience some people getting angry and chasing us or doing other crazy things. Anyway, they ran and they ran and they ran. And somehow or other, there was a place where trough where the horses used to drink. Because those days there wasn't cars, there was horse carts. So, Nityananda and Haridas, they hid behind the thing. These guys are drunk. They just ran straight past. Where did they go? I don't know where they are. Anyway, they just left them. So they got away that day. So they came back and they told Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu said, no, you must save them. This is my mission, to save the most fallen. So the next day they went looking for Jagai and Madai. It didn't take long. Then they saw everybody's gathered around. Oh, they must be there. And here were these two brothers. And again, they're fighting. One of them had stolen somebody's money pouch. And he's like, oh, look at all this money. And Jagai was saying, Hum log to bye, hey, we're brothers. You can give me some. No, man, you go steal your own. I stole this, this is mine. Oh, come on, man. We do everything together. You give me half. No, this is mine. You go steal your own, man. This is mine. They're fighting like this. So Nityananda again came forward. He said, my dear brothers, he folded his hands. Please give up these activities and chant the holy. Oh no, those Hare Krishna Wallas have come again. And he took his wine bottle and he smashed Nityananda right in the head. And you know how cut on the head, it bleeds like the dickens, So half of Nityananda's body was just covered with red. His kurta was red, his dhoti was red. And Nityananda again, with blood all over the place, still he folded his hands. My dear brothers, you please give up this simple life and chant the holy name. And Madai again said, look, man, I'm going to finish you off now. And Jagai, he was astonished. The guy just smashed him in the head, is bleeding like anything. This guy's still folding his hands. Man, what you done, man? Look at this guy. You just broke his head. He's still begging you to give up this simple life. He must be some kind of Mahatma. Well, you shut up, man. He's bothering us. No, man, what have you done, man? He must be some kind of Mahatma or something. You done a big apparat. Shut up, will you? This guy bothering us. So anyway, the news reached to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya immediately called his Sudarshan Chakra. He appeared immediately on the spot, And And both Jagai and Madai, they're uh, 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 fell on the ground, and begging and pleading. And Nitai said, no, you have to save them, especially this Jagai. He was trying to stop Madai. Hmm? Uh, and Lord Chaitanya was so angry. He was just ready to chop their heads off. And finally, Nitai just went in front and he said, wait, what are you doing? Hmm? You've come to save the most fallen. They're same. They're like everybody you'll meet in Kali Yuga. Everyone is like them. Huh? If you don't save them, who will you save? Huh? We'll have to kill everybody. Huh? Everybody. This is a sample of Kali Yuga. So then somehow or other, Nityananda, both those two brothers, they fell on Lord Nityananda's feet. He said, please save us. And Lord Nityananda picked them up and dropped them on the feet of Nimai. Hmm? And seeing that the mercy of Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya sent his Sudarshan Chakra back. Uh, uh, then he picked those two brothers up and embraced them. He says, from now on, you give up all this sinful activity and you chant the holy name with us. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hmm? So even those people that are so fallen, even Lord Chaitanya wasn't ready to save them. Lord Nityananda saves those. And as I said, Prabhupada, at least they were born in Brahmin families. Huh? And we didn't even have that benefit. Huh? We were born in Lecha families and eating meat every day for our whole life and drinking wine like it was water. And we didn't have any good thing in our life. But somehow, Prabhupada, he's the full manifestation of Lord Nityananda's mercy. He saved even those. Lord Chaitanya and Jari Kant, he got the animals to dance at Jam. But Srila Prabhupada, he's got the lesson animals to dance at Jam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So anyway, we'll put our voice to rest here unless anybody has any question or comment or any other favorite pastime of Lord Nityananda. Yes, Prabhuji. Uh, um, yeah, Eka Chakra, and there's a temple there, yes. Like Maharaj, I haven't been there for a long time, but there's a beautiful temple. In fact, in Radhakund and Nityananda's Betak, the inside the Betak, they've made it very beautiful now. There's a picture of that Nitai from Eka Chakra. Now the village is known as Bir Chandrapur. And then just other part of the town, there's another village. Oh, what is the name? Wonderful. Bankim Rai. The very, very beautiful deity of Bankim Rai. And all those nice fields. Of course, I haven't been for a long time. It's probably all built up now, but there used to be beautiful fields there where all Nitai and all his friends used to imitate all these pastimes. And, a very wonderful place. Now we have a temple there. I've seen the temple. Maharaj hasn't seen, but I've seen the temple there. I haven't been for a long time. It's a heavy, heavy ride. The roads aren't the best. It was like some of the roads we saw in. We went to Sabu Sabu. We saw roads like the way they Ekachakra. Yes. What's your question? Huh? Lord Chaitanya. Nitai is, these are affectionate names. Because he appeared, Lord Chaitanya appeared under a neem tree. So Advaita Prabhu's wife, Tita Thakurani, she gave the name Nimai. Also, previous to that, so many of their children died right after being born. So Sita Thakurani said, if I give him a name, name Nimai, because I don't know if you've tasted neem. We have neem here in New Zealand. Which plant? A similar. Oh, the sweet neem probably. But anyway, neem is so bitter. So she thought that way, if he's got a very bitter name like that, death won't come near him. So he got the name Nimai. Because his father was Jagannath Mishra. Mishra is another title for a Brahmin. Mishra, Sharma, Tripati. These are all names of Brahmins. So Mishra means Brahmin. So he was a Pandit. So he got the name Nimai Pandit. So for Nityananda, we make it short to Nitai, and Nimai is already short. Nimai Nitai. Oh, going on somehow or another. The beautiful temple in, well, I guess Suva is the biggest. Lautok is a nice temple of Sri Krishna Kaliya. Amazing deity. And all their website and all their literature, they say this is unique. But actually, I saw the same Krishna Kaliya in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. There's one devotee, I can't remember his name. I can remember his Facebook name is Ravi Singh. But he's got a wonderful preaching program there in his house. He's got this beautiful Kaliya Krishna deity. I only went there one time, but I remember seeing that. It was very unique. And then in Singatoka, they had this huge temple, almost above the whole town. There's just somebody's big palace above there, but he's also a friend of the temple. But anyway, everywhere you are in Singatoka, you look up and you see, Sri Radha Damodar temple, And luckily, last time I went, it was a little hard, but this time they got a lift now. It's like 4 stories high. So and they made some nice guest rooms there. They put the prasad, they moved the prasad hall down to the ground floor and made, that up right underneath the temple room. They made some guest rooms. There's still a hall there for other activities, and they have the prasadam on the ground floor now. So then we went to Lombasa, and there they have Radha Daman Chandra. We had beautiful. It was a weekday, so somehow or other, I was a little worried because originally we weren't going to have program there, but then last minute they decided to have a program there because they have a nice temple there. So we got there, they have their Sunday artik at 6:30, and I said, "Well, it's 6:30." He said, "But Prabhu, the pujari hasn't come yet." I was getting worried. Why did we stop here? The pujari hasn't come. Who's going to come and listen? And finally, the pujari showed up because everybody's working. So the pujari showed up, and we started our tea. And before I knew it, the whole place was jam packed with devotees. We had a nice program there, and then we went to Sabu Sabu. They don't have temple there. They just have informal gatherings, and it was a very beautiful place. How we get the mercy of the Lord tonight? He has to be the most fallen. It says, well, actually, Nartani, he's talking about Lord Chaitanya, but the same example is there, that he says, Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avatara, Mosa Mo Patita Prabhu, na Paivayar. That you have descended to save the most fallen. But no matter where you go, you won't find anyone more fallen than me. Therefore, I have a priority basis. Uh, uh, You have to save me first, ASAP. Because you think, oh, I'm a big devotee. I distributed so many books. I collect so much money. I cook so many nice sweets. I do the artik so nicely. I do yajna so nicely. I'm very learned, you know. And that means puffed up. Puffed up means, because mercy is like water. Water flows down. So if you become puffed up like that, the mercy of Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya will go somewhere else. And his mercy always goes, water always goes where there's a hole, you know, as soon as there's a hole, then water. And what does it do? It fills up the hole. So we're like that. We're like black holes. Whatever, if something good goes in, it just disappears in the blackness, you know. Huh? But somehow, if we become just down, then Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya's mercy will come. And whatever we're lacking, that's what the water does. It fills up the hole. So the mercy, that's, we have, we may think, well, how is it possible that we'll ever become Krishna conscious? It's not our endeavor. Prabhupada said, for every step you take towards Krishna, Krishna takes 10 towards you. We're all mercy cases. Which is like first time I went to Mayapur in 1974 it was actually the first, they say the 73 was the first, but it was really organized in 74 because at least from America, we all flew together on the same plane. Now everybody makes his own arrangement. Those days, everything was arranged for us. You know, they had a flight for us from New York, so somehow we all made our ways to New York. We got on this flight. It was practically just, you know, the American devotees. Then we landed in London, and then all the London devotees got on. You know, and there was, by that time there was hardly anybody who wasn't devotee on the plane. We were having artiks at, you know, 30, not artik, we were having kirtan 30,000 feet in the sky, you know. And the poor pilot, he was seeing his weather radar doesn't show any turbulence, but we're jumping up and down and running up and down the aisles and dancing in the planes. It's all right, please return your seats. But we'd have Mangalarti, because those days it wasn't this, you know, a London Delhi or New York Delhi jump, you know. We flew New York to London, then London to Paris. The French, a couple of French devotees got on. Paris to Rome, then Rome to Athens, Athens to Beirut. Then Beirut blew up and we went to Tehran the next year. Then Tehran to Beirut to Bombay, and then Bombay to Calcutta. That's how we had to go. That was so long. We would do Mangalarti and, you know, 30,000 feet. We're having Mangalarti. It was a lot of fun. And then we finally got to Bombay, and they had all buses. Every arrangement was made, but all the buses were there, and they shipped us off to Mayapur. And the only building was the Lotus building, and even it wasn't complete. We were sleeping in the cement dust. And there was no generator. And those days, the electric supply was even worse than it is now. Electricity would go out. Then after a while, the pump that filled up the water tanks, that stopped. And as I said, everybody was so sick, so it didn't take long before all the water was gone. And then you had to run downstairs, you know, 4 flights of stairs. You're holding your belly, you know, and you have to go to the hand pump and you're holding your belly. Oh my God. And you grab the bucket and run there was some temporary toilets they made. Oh, Okay, it's getting late. Anyway, yes? How do you tell what? Hmm? Humility? Well, Lord Chaitanya said Trinity. We usually translate it as blade of grass. But if you see the grass, he's standing like this. As soon as you step on him, he goes down, right? As soon as you go away, beep. Trin actually means piece of straw. He's always just lying flat out like this. He's making his sastan pranam, his dando pranam. So actually, Trin means like that. We have to become very uh, uh, realize that we're totally worthless. Mm. Sometimes I'm totally amazed how we're completely insignificant. Mm. It's like somebody put some video on Facebook, journey to the edge of the universe, and it just went out and out. You saw the Earth disappearing, and just a little ball, and then the solar system disappeared, and our Milky Way disappeared, and just, wow, we're so insignificant. We're nothing, We're just we just have to beg. Uh, humble means to beg, but also humble means I learned from Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, because he would challenge. He would go on the beach, and he would say Prabhupada. They say like very forcefully he would preach, So humble means you realize I'm useless. Let me become an instrument for the previous acharyas. You give up your false ego. Huh? Just let me be an instrument. I'm nothing. Let me be an instrument. Whatever the previous acharyas have said, let me repeat that. And whatever they've told us, let me do that. That is real humility. Just like Hanuman. He jumped across the whole ocean to Lanka. He burnt the whole city down because he was completely sold out to Lord Ram. That's the real humility. We always go, Jai Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhu, or what a rascal he is. We're like the grass. All right, so we should stop here. Hare Krishna. Jai Nitai. The Prabhupada ki jai.